What's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having a great start to your morning. So let's go ahead and talk about this situation between Kenya Moore and Marc Daly. And at this point, y'all, I'm not even going to acknowledge them as a married couple because I don't even believe these two were married in the first place. Now, once again, on national TV, Marc Daly has embarrassed Kenya Moore. And in my estimation, it's clear to see that Marc just doesn't like Kenya for the person that she is. Because the amount of animosity that he seems to have towards Kenya lets you know right then and there that I don't believe that Marc ever had feelings for Kenya, that it was more of a business agreement. Let's check out what Nene had to say in regards to this matter.
The few times that I've seen Kenya and Marc together, I've never seen them lovey-dovey. It's always like he's standing over here and she's standing over. It's almost like it's an agreement.
So can we tell the security guy just to wait over on the side? It's like he's everywhere hovering like it's like this is obnoxious.
Come over here and just thank everybody.
What?
Thank everybody for coming.
Oh, sorry, brother. I'm sorry. I'm listening. Thank you. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you coming and supporting. I want to quickly jump in and tell everyone thank you for coming and supporting it.
Thank you for having us, Marc.
Let me introduce you to my wife real quick. Okay. Yeah, sure. Save me from the drama.
Is Marc happy? Mm-hmm. I don't know where he went to. It's nice.
It's invasive.
All of the couples seem to be happy, just enjoying each other so much. I'm just really disappointed.
Alright, so you've seen what transpired on the Real Housewives of Atlanta that prompted Nene to come out and speak about Kenya Moore's relationship to Marc, and she actually came to the same conclusion that I came to, that their marriage is nothing more or nothing less than an agreement, right? Because you see how Marc was so dismissive of Kenya. Like I said previously, he doesn't even want to be in her presence. And anytime she had to remind him to go and thank the people for coming out and supporting the event, goes to show that there's a major disconnect within their relationship. And quite frankly, Marc is not trying to play this husband and wife thing with you. You know, listen, I think Marc is of the mindset that, okay, listen, the agreement was you help me with the taxes. We have a baby together. Now you have a storyline. Let me be. But somewhere down the line, I believe that Marc was tricked into becoming a part of the Real Housewives of Atlanta franchise. I don't think this man wanted to be in front of the camera because he had no love for Kenya in that way. And I can definitely see Marc resenting Kenya for actually putting him in a position where he doesn't want to be in. Like, everybody doesn't want to be in front of the cameras. And Marc seemed like the dude that likes to be behind the scene, you know, do his own thing, you know, take care of his family, run his restaurant. He's not all about the glitz and the glamour. And I believe Kenya is trying to turn that man into something that he's not. He's already not your husband, and now you're trying to turn this man into a whole reality TV star. Girl, go sit somewhere. Now, I'm not going to put all of this on Kenya because I believe that Marc needs to be held accountable as well. Because I believe that in the beginning, when Kenya agreed to pay his taxes, it was all good. I believe that Marc was more romantic. He wanted to be with Kenya all the time because Kenya was helping him save his business. But I believe the agreement that entailed everything that Kenya wanted and Kenya needed to be able to create this storyline on the Real Housewives of Atlanta is the part that Marc resents. I don't think that Marc really wanted to have a baby with Kenya. That's just my personal opinion. But he did it because he wanted to save his restaurant. I know it sounds crazy and it sounds insensitive, but I'm telling you, this is what I believe. And I really think that once he got his taxes paid, he didn't want to honor Kenya's side of the agreement, which included him playing this husband role, right? But he probably thought that, okay, I can play the husband role behind the scenes, but Kenya has him playing the husband role in front of the cameras. And this dude is not good at faking being a husband to someone that he's not married to. Now, we have to call out the stupidity on Marc's part to think that he wouldn't be a part of the show if he's actually a part of the storyline. She did have a baby with you, so what makes you think that Bravo is not going to want you to make some appearances? But Kenya probably told him, hey, you can make 2 to 3 appearances here and there, and that's it. But Bravo is holding him and her to that contract. And Bravo is like, no, you have an obligation to fulfill, and you're going to fulfill those obligations, or we can just cancel the whole contract. So actually, Kenya needed Marc to agree to make appearances on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Because if you can remember, Kenya ran off and got married behind Bravo's back and they were upset. So Kenya wanted to make a return to The Real Housewives of Atlanta after being gone from the show for about a year or so. And it was then reported that, you know, Kenya wanted her spot back on the show, but Marc didn't want to film, and Bravo was like, no, we just don't want you and the baby. We need Marc to make it a storyline. So Marc has to agree to make appearances on the show. And so this is where I believe all the resentment comes from on Marc's behalf. I think Marc probably feels that he was manipulated into becoming a cast member on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and that's something that he didn't want. But I'm sitting here thinking like, yo, you need to help paying your taxes. And by you being on this show, you are getting a check. So this time you wouldn't have to ask Kenya or any other woman to help you pay your taxes. You can pay your taxes just like a man's supposed to do on his own. So I don't understand what the problem is and what you bickering about, because by you being on this show, it gives your restaurant more exposure. You can make more money potentially because people are like, yo, this is the dude that owned this restaurant in Brooklyn or whatever the case may be. Let's go check it out. So I don't understand why he's not seeing the benefits of him being on the show, which potentially can help him and his restaurant drive sales. You see what I'm saying? So he can pay his taxes on his own next time. So another reason why I think this is not a real marriage is because how you going to be married to someone that's having a problem with another cast member in Nene, but you basically don't have your wife back in Kenya, and you basically are friends with Nene and Greg? I mean, that's not a good look. At best, you're supposed to stand behind your wife and support your wife and not tell your wife, yo, I like Nene. I don't have no problem with her. That's between you and her. Now, ultimately, that could be the truth, but you being a supportive husband, you're supposed to say, listen, I stand behind you. I support you. He's out here chilling with Nene and Greg, and this is what is fueling Nene and Kenya to clash more and more, especially on this season. I mean, they never really got along, but they're really clashing this season. So, you know, as a husband, you know, you're not going to get into, you know, altercation with women. Of course not. But at the same time, I'm not going to hang out with a person that my wife is having a problem with. You understand? All right, enough of Marc and Kenya and all that crap. Let's go ahead and transition to the next story, because Marc and Kenya isn't the only relationship that is in danger, in my opinion. All right, so you got Cynthia and Mike Hill. Now, it wasn't too long ago where Mike Hill has come out and said that he cheated on both of his ex-wives. And this prompted Cynthia to be like, yo, what? You cheated on both of your ex-wives? You know, and then we're supposed to get married this October? Like, what is going on? So the one thing that I find interesting within this story is that Cynthia admitted that her and Mike are going to counseling even before they get married. Like, where you do that at? You got to go to counseling before you get married? So listen, I'm going to play you this clip of Cynthia talking about her and Mike going to counseling, and then I'll be back to close out the video.
This episode that I was just watching, since obviously it's not in real time, you guys film, as you said, in advance.
Yes.
I love... It's funny because when I watch you, it's like everybody can relate to you. The conversations you have with Mike are literally what I have with my husband. The way you worded it, you said, we need to go to counseling just to figure out how to not just communicate, but how to argue. I say that to my husband all the time.
No, because that's real. I mean, if you're in a relationship, whether you get married or not, you know you're going to argue. I mean, you argue with, you know, your mom. You argue with, I mean, your arguments are going to happen. And, you know, I'm only as good as, like, my last serious relationship.
Yeah.
And, you know, we argued very differently, and I'm not going to say that I always play fair. So with that said, you know, Mike has his way and his issues, and you know, so we have to figure out, okay, how do we communicate effectively and have a somewhat positive argument if we need to, and get on the other side of it and not go to bed mad at each other.
I love that. I
kind of do.
I do, but you try to work on it as long as there is improvement. I think that's what matters. So have you done the counseling? Has it been effective? Have you seen it work?
We did. We started, and we definitely will be doing more premarital counseling.
That's
Absolutely.
really awesome.
All right, going to premarital counseling because you're trying to figure out a way to argue better. is a lame excuse in my estimation. And in my opinion, the reason why these two are in counseling is due to the fact that Mike dropped that bomb and said, I cheated on both of my ex-wives and Cynthia don't want to be the third wife to be cheated on. Now, Mike could be a changed man. He could love Cynthia in a way that he didn't love the other women that he previously married. So I can see that dynamic, but at the same time, I think that Cynthia needs to take her time and not rush down the aisle, really assess the situation and things of that nature, because you just came out of a marriage that wasn't no good, in my opinion, when you were married to Peter. He basically just used you as a cash cow, getting all the money that he could to fund these failed businesses and things of that nature. And I really want the best for Cynthia because in my estimation, she's a good girl. So with that said, I'm gonna let this go and let y'all have that in the comments. Drop down and let a brother know what you think about the commentary within this video. Also, give me your thoughts on the situation between Kenya and Mark. And also, give me your true thoughts and assessments on the situation in regards to Cynthia and Mike Hill. Do you think that Cynthia should marry Mike Hill this year? Or should she take her time and not rush down the aisle? Let a brother know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll get with you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.